Hey Rob, I just tried to get my live feed working and it canceled out on me, so I don't know what happened. But I had one all planned out and I scheduled it up like James does. But when I clicked it to go live, it wouldn't go live. So now I'm redoing it. I had 5 people waiting. No, that's okay. Uh, I ended up getting a little sick that night. Yeah, the original one, Michelle got. I couldn't get it to work.
Is it working out?
Yeah, I'm doing all the title and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm doing all the title and everything. So, is the volume good, Michelle?
Yeah, you can hear me from there.
Okay, I'm just getting the title and everything fixed up here.
Okay, I just forgot Daisy's food and figured I'd come and figure out if you were okay.
Yeah, that would be great, Rob, because I don't know what happened. That was really weird. Well, it just goes to show I do not know exactly what I'm doing. It worked out when I had it in portrait mode on Tuesday. James, how you doing? Yeah, my original one that I just scheduled, I went to click go live on my phone and it wouldn't do it. James, how you doing? Yeah, my original one that I Okay, I got there's the volume's off. It's working now. I had to do a new one. Cecil Wilson, hey, how you doing? Yeah, I love this Napa hat. I just got it. We went to pick up some parts at the Napa store, my Napa store, and they had some hats there, and I'm like, I want one of these hats, and they're like, they gave it to me. Yeah, I guess I don't know. I went to go click it, go live on my phone, and it wouldn't do nothing. Cecil, Cisco. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. Where are you from, Cisco? So, yeah, I don't know what happened. Sorry about that, guys. The the live feed. I've got to change up all my stuff now because I started a new one. I-75 corridor. What part is that? Where's that at? Ohio. Okay, Ohio. Yeah, I think Rob, aren't you from Ohio? Are you back in here? Middletown, Ohio. Yeah, we're just gonna have a little. We talk about everything, but I thought tonight's topic would be oil changes. So we used to do oil changes on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays, but now we do them on Saturdays. You manage a shop. Oh, great. Yeah, so I just started the shop a year and a half ago. And I was working out at my garage before that, and I got too busy. All the customer cars were going out to the end of the road. Napa couldn't get into my driveway. So I'm learning the ins and out. And this year the tax man was pretty naughty to me. Okay, I got it coming up now. I don't have to keep looking over there. I'll show you guys later. Drive-through tires. Yeah, I don't do tires here. I used to do tires at a shop I worked at. Man, I'm getting too old to do those. and I don't have no workers, so I do need to get a tire machine. It's on my list because I do TPMS sensors and bead seals. Yeah, Rob, it was a big cut this year. So had my attorney stop in the other day and she said I could get some help, but I think I'll be okay. City attorney, and then she also said that the town needs me and they don't want me to pack up and leave. So you guys do alignment and brakes. Yeah, I like to talk about brakes too. I do a lot of brakes. No alignments. I have done alignments at one of the shops I used to work at. Man, alignments were terrible for me. Hey, Leisure. How you doing? Yeah, my original live feed, I couldn't get it to go and I had to start another one. 3 tire techs, okay. Yeah, I learned tires a long time ago, and I started out with semi tires, and then we had a car / semi shop / body shop, and we had a tire tech, and he taught me everything about tires, at least as much as I need to know. And I know from working at the last shop I was at, doing tires, especially, people will bring you big trucks with big tires, and they're heavy. Not for me. Yeah, it's hard work. So, like, we'd have our own bay, and they were either coming in for tires or oil changes. But when they came in for tires, I didn't like it. So James, how are you doing on your finals or whatever, your schooling? I don't see very many videos from you, James. Jeff Rowe. So yeah, when I was doing the Tuesday live feed in portrait mode, halfway through I started getting stuffed up and coughing a little bit. So later on that night, my shoulders and my back all got like stiff and pain in them. So ever since then, even today, I don't know how long I'll make it, but just ain't been feeling quite right. So I don't think it was from like the pollen. So James Jeffro says, good, finished my last test today, just waiting on grades now. Graduation next Friday. So that's awesome. I'm glad you're going to get that done and you'll be able to do what you want to do now. And you can focus more on your videos or getting a job. I think you said you were going to get a job. But I enjoy your videos and the live feeds you do. So Jeffro has a live feed every Sunday at 6:30 Central Time. And that's how I met him. Well, I think I found one of his videos and then I found out he had those live feeds. So that was a few years ago. Yeah, so Cisco, I was planning this channel 10 years before I started it. So it took a lot of planning and it was still hard for me to get started, but I did, and eventually I'm getting better all the time. My videos are getting better. So yeah, it takes a lot of planning, and unless you've got some kind of niche that you could just go off and do videos. But for me, I had to get more friendly with the camera. I have to do crazy edits in my videos. Like the long videos I do, sometimes it takes like 6 to 8 hours to edit them. Yeah, your live feed, Jethro. That I like it. So I'm using a TLC 20 Pro 5G phone. That's got the best camera on it that I found that works. And my old phone, my Moto, it was a Moto G. And that had the best camera that I used. The best volume and everything, the best picture, but that phone, the battery died. So this is what I'm using now. And I can walk around the shop, so if anybody wants to see something, yeah, it isn't easy, and it takes a lot of effort. And I mean, I'm putting out at least one short a day on like my first car today was different because I had an oil change and an air conditioning job, and I wasn't able to find the leak on the air conditioning, but it had some in there. So I asked her how long when it went out and if she's ever had it charged. Yeah. So Jeff wrote, the best camera for a beginner is a good phone. Yep. 100% right. Because you got your phone. You know how to use it. Yep, I put some dye in it. And I did drive it. I drove it for like 10 miles today with the air conditioning on, and it's 50 degrees outside. It's freezing in there. I brought it back in, and I left it running. I lifted it up. I checked everywhere for dye. Couldn't find none leaking. So then I let it sit for like, maybe it's leaking on the suction side. So I let it sit in here for like 3 hours, and I look at it, but I don't see nothing. So I just told her if she feels a difference, like it's getting the temperature is changing warmer in the air conditioning, to bring it into me right away. But I don't think there's going to be a problem. Sometimes, like the seal for the compressor seal in the front, in the wintertime, they'll leak a little out sometimes. So that's probably all it needs. Leisure says his phone runs on internal combustion engine, so it's old. Oh, he's saying he's got an old phone. Well, I still have all my old phones. I can't get them to turn on and stay on very long. They have to be plugged in. And then they're so old on the Android operating system that they're not updated anymore. No, not really. Not really, Cisco. I have we got this Ranger. So let me show you. I'm just gonna unplug my phone. I had it plugged in. So over here is my Ranger, and I just took all the recycling out of that last Tuesday before the live feed. But I was gonna paint it like sparkly black, but I'm just thinking I'll keep it gray. I'm gonna change the stickers in the back, and then I'll put it in the parade. So yeah, that used to be, I bought it. It was all molested, but it used to be a 2016 Ranger North Star. So the 2016s didn't have air conditioning, but it's got heat. But then somebody put an old Razor front end on it, and I had to buy a new engine for it when I got it. So I want to get that going. And then we have an old race car that I used to race, a modified. Here, I'll show you a picture. So right here, we want to change this to orange, all orange with 01. And then put the Confederate flag on there. I don't know if that would be too offensive to some people or not, but we got it running and we changed it over to E85. So let me catch up on yeah, so no, really, I want to get a car. Like I was thinking maybe an old Smokey and the Bandit car or something. One with a 403 in it, which they're hard to find. So yeah, I kind of keep looking down here. Well, I can see all the comments on my computer right here. I can see them up there on my TV if I walk around. So hopefully you guys don't get too annoyed. You'll have to let me know if you do. Yeah, okay, Michelle said the 79 van. So yeah, I want to make that into the 18 van. And then pull my race car, which will be the colors of the General Lee. And the same number, because that's what my number is. And then I'll pull it on an open trailer. So yeah, I got a couple projects in the work, but I'm so busy. We are out now until like May 20th on appointments. It's just me in here. Michelle helps out just once in a while when she can. She'll put some slips in the computer and maybe make some invoices and help some customers. Especially if she sees it's really busy, she'll come out here and help me. So, what do you got for a van? Oh, it says right there, 1990 G20. You got a 1990 G20 van. Yeah, so that's fuel injected. That's even better. 1987 Olds Cutlass Supreme. And a 2007 Harley. Yeah, I got a 1981 Suzuki, but yeah. So James Jeffro, he's got a Harley. So you should subscribe to his channel because he does some videos on that Harley, and he takes it to Sturgis and takes her on all trips all over. He was driving, I don't know, it was a couple years ago, and he was driving down I-90, and I'm like, I'm only 20 miles from I-90, but I think I missed you. So Rob says, speaking of old stuff, I seen a Toyota T100 driving in front of my house yesterday. Yeah, I seen an older car driving around. Yeah, those were the good old days, and that's awesome that that thing is still running. I'd love to have an older pickup like that. Yeah, so Michelle says my van doesn't have no brakes, but I think the brakes work fine. In the summer I drive it all the time, so I'll take it to the scrap yard, and I take it uptown to the recycling bins, and I'll take it to get my hair cut. I love driving that old van. I got brand new tires on it. And a couple years ago, I brought it in my shop when I wasn't that busy, when I was in the home garage. I fixed every oil leak on that thing. And then lately I brought it in because we were going to start painting it for the A-Team van. But anyways, I haul a lot of stuff in there. So I put some snowmobile shocks opposite of where the other shocks are. And it lifted the ass end up like 2 inches. So I was really happy. So see, Cisco says I just put a new air AC compressor on the van. That's great. Yeah. So it's air conditioning season, and they're coming in every day here at my shop. I generally do pretty good. I usually can find a leak, but today I could not find one. And I got a sniffer and everything. So yeah, if I'm looking, because the comments on the phone will only pop up when somebody comments, and then they go away. Yeah, well, that's just the way older Chevys are. Sometimes the brakes you gotta pump them a couple times. I'd never had a problem with it. Yeah, Cisco says he has a choo-choo custom truck wheels with fat white letter tires. Yeah, I wish I could see a picture of that. That would be cool. So yeah, I used to have some older cars. I wish I had them all now. Like I had a 72 Nova, 74 Nova SS, Datsun 280Z. I put a small block in it and a turbo 350. What else did I have? I had some 79 Camaro. I had a couple Camaros. Well, my first vehicle was a 1961 International C110, and then I put a 392 in it. I took out it had a 304 or a 266, one of them. I took that out and put a 392 in it with a 727. Yeah, I was telling the story last time. So Rob says our speed limits were set via the older vehicles. The brakes weren't as efficient as the modern stuff. Also, things weighed a lot more back then. Yeah, some of these brake rotors, they're so thin, like you can't turn them. But yeah, so I'm still just a little sick, but yeah. So if your rotors look good, I'll measure them up. If I could turn them, I'll turn them. I'm doing a lot more of that. Rotors are costing a lot more than last year. Michelle said he said it made me take it a couple blocks to put gas in it. Pete and my youngest son stood in the driveway and laughed at me the whole time. Well, I think she really pressed hard on the brakes, and it kind of made the van do like that. Maybe she missed the brake pedal. Did you miss the brake pedal, Michelle? But anyways, me and her son, we just couldn't stop laughing. It was so funny. And she never drove it again. Ever. But it's a nice old van. So I bought it because the guy wanted me to sell the engine for he said you could have a 350 block for your race car. And I'm like, okay. I think he said $50 if I came and got it. So I did, and I brought a gas can, a battery, and an air tank. And I drove it out of there. He's like, what? I guess it's been sitting there for like 15 years. Yeah. So Rob says it's not a clutch pedal. You think it's a brake, right? Michelle, hee. Michelle said, I thought I was going to run into the gas station building. Gosh, I just don't think it's that bad. But anyways, I drove it out of there. I told him I'd give him an extra $25 if he found the title. Well, he found the title and signed it over, and it cost me $75 for that van. Once in a while, I'll take it over to the bar, and he's over there, and I'll play the Chevy van song, and he gets kind of irritated with me a little bit. He's like, "You're still driving that old van?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I just talked to him a couple weeks ago. I'm like, "I'll sell her back to you." Oh, thanks, Cecil. Yeah, if I get a subscriber, I always subscribe back. If I find the smaller channels that aren't up to 1K yet, I'll try to subscribe to those too. Because then they eventually subscribe back, and that's how it should be, subscription for subscription, right, guys? She said she never took her foot off the brake pedal, coasted the whole way back. Yeah, you were going kind of slow. Me and David watched you the whole way. We were watching, and it was funny because her son David took it uptown to do the recycling, and Michelle's like, "I don't think that's a good idea," but we let him do it anyways. And then it needed gas because I was going to take it to the scrap yard and haul some scrap the next week. So we made Michelle go over there and get gas. Yeah, it might have been partially David's idea. Tecton just released their stubby flex heads just after Gen 2 icons came out. So that's stubby flex heads. Is that like my Vim? Tecton. I'm gonna type it in here, Rob. So they got flex head ratchets. Is that what it is? Stubby. Yeah, so I got one like that, but it's a Mac. Let's go look. So I'll show you what I'm talking about, Rob. So I thought you might be talking about these Vim. Let's grab the 19, and you can put an extension in here in the end, and then it's got the offset, and then it's switchable. These come in so handy. And I asked the guy if I could put an extension on it, like 24-inch extension, and he said, "Yeah, we'll warranty it." But he's no longer a tool man up here. He moved to Florida. And then I got this little stubby. This is my Mac, and I've had this forever. A little stubby. Is that what you're talking about, Rob? A ratchet? Oh boy, my little one. Here's my Power Torque. So this is a nice little ratchet here. And then you can put, let me grab an extension. So then you can put an extension on it if you need it longer, but it's not a flex head. It sounds like it's pretty fine tooth. Well, I did take it to the scrap yard where they junk steel and stuff, and they said that they would take my van, and I'm like, "Well, will you guys crush it or will you use it?" And they're like, "Well, if it runs good, we might use it." It's right front and center if you go to their page. Yeah, I could go over and check it out. See what you're talking about. I've never been to the Tecton website. Tecton flex head ratchets. Okay. $105 for 3 of them. That's not bad. So let's see. So this is the only thing I can't do. And James or Jeffro, sorry, he can put up on his computer what he's looking at, and I would have no idea how to do that. So $35 a piece. Yeah, that's pretty good. Reminds me of my Grand Am. Drove it back to the junkyard and handed them the keys. What year Grand Am did you have, Rob? I see. Here's what's going on. My comments didn't scroll. At least you said the recycling center didn't even want it. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. But they said if it ran good, they would take it. But they would only give me scrap price. '96. So I had a '96 Grand Am, or maybe it was a '90. Yeah, I had a '96, a '97, a '91, and a 1989 Grand Am. I love Grand Ams. So my '89 Grand Am was the shit. It was so fast. It had the quad 4. I got some old videos like High 8, the old small little, they're called High 8, I think. I'm gonna have to transfer them over to get them on digital because I did some crazy stuff with that car. Yeah, so these are my '97 wheels on the Ranger. And I had bought brand new tires for that car, so I'm like, eventually I gotta use them. So I kept those wheels, and then I bought some adapters, but they were fairly expensive. The adapters to adapt these wheels to the Ranger are $100 a piece, and they're custom made. Yeah, I got the live on the TV, the phone, and the PC. Yup. Yeah, he worked his, or Rob said, I worked mine over. They were insane for what they were. The old quad 4 blew an engine out, just a reman juiced up. Yeah, so I got a set of cams still for like a W41. I got a good head. I got most of the engine parts. I kept them. And a 125 transmission. So if I ever find one of those cars that ain't all rusted out, I want it because I'm gonna put it into the races they have up here. They got the little economy class or an enduro. That car would wax them. I had it out at Deer Creek. So my 1989 Grand Am. The night before was Saturday, and I must have misplaced my wallet, and I couldn't find my wallet after the races. I'm like, you know what, maybe it fell out of my race car onto the track. So Sunday I go over there and I ask them, can I go out there and look for my wallet? They said, sure. So I went out there with my car and I looked for my wallet, but I couldn't find it. But there was nobody at the track. So I opened her up for a few laps on there. I got 95 miles an hour down the straightaway, and I was slowing down to like I would say 30 in the corners because they were really rough and I didn't want to rip out my suspension. And I wasn't really even trying. Like, that was the first time I ever had that car on a dirt track. So that was a pretty cool experience for me. And then after that, I took it on a couple more dirt tracks. Wasn't supposed to, though. We're talking about cars and old mechanic sandbox. I don't know what a mechanic sandbox is. Well, I better catch up on these comments. Yeah, Michelle told me tonight. She went into the motorhome. But she's like, you better keep up on those comments. So let's see what we got. So, okay, here's a guy. 1 number block sandbox. Okay. Hey, sandbox, welcome. You got a name that I can call you? Other than that big one, 1 number block sandbox. Need spinners on that thing so you can take them to Florida. But what? So Jeffro says, but what did he initiate it on? What cameras? So I got it on a TCL 20 Pro 5G. That's the camera I use for all my YouTube videos. Because back when I was in my garage, I used a Moto G, and that was the best camera with the best volume. And then I tried the newer phones, like my new phone. This camera does not work for YouTube very good at all. It just doesn't. Yeah, so what was it last year? We went out to Deer Creek for a couple races. Yeah, that's pretty awesome. We got to sit in the VIP area. So Leisure says asphalt is where it's at. Dirt is for growing potatoes. Yeah, well, we don't have any like asphalt tracks around here to race at. I'm trying to. I was for a while trying to convince my brother to build one on his property, but you got to have some pretty good insurance and stuff. I must have missed something. Yeah, the spinners on that thing so you can take them to Florida. Not sure what that means. Need spinners on that thing so you can take it to Florida. Take them to Florida. Yeah, it's just it. I don't know. I don't know if Jeff Roca can relate to this, but it's hard for me to keep up to the comments, especially if I tell a story. And me and Michelle were talking about this last night, how I get off on a tangent, but I just don't know. I try to answer everybody's question and say hi to everybody. So if I miss somebody, I'm sorry. Michelle says Pete said earlier he thinks I'm gonna call him out for being insensitive. The golf cart, that's my Ranger. Yeah. Yeah, we got a hitch on the back of the motorhome and I plan on bringing that somewhere. And I got the original wheels for it too, so if I need to go mud bogging or whatever, and they're brand new. Yeah, I don't know. That's a Ranger. And it's a 900 XP, and I bought that engine. It's a brand new rebuilt. Spinner, oh, the spinner like hubcaps, yeah, I thought he meant like real spinners like Indy cars have. Or like maybe a Cobra. Leisure probably knows the old Cobras had spinners. But yeah, I just took all that recycling out last Tuesday and it's full, or getting full. Well, I guess last night I did the time chain on an Ecotec after I started on it like after 3 o'clock. Got the whole thing done, I don't know, about by 9:30, 10. And they can't come and get their car unless they pay me. They wanted to come and pick it up today, and I told them no. Yeah, I got it, Michelle. Rims. Yeah, knockoffs. That's what I was thinking. That's the spinner nut. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if I think like the NASCARs now, they got that, but I think they're splined on there. But I always wanted to like put threads on there and make my own knockoffs on my Nova. Yeah, got it now. Yeah, the comments run a little bit behind on my side. Yeah, it's tough. I struggle with the comments and keeping up. I know when I watch What's Up Wednesdays, he only answers the comments he wants to answer, and then towards the end he'll answer more comments. But he'll pick one comment and he'll just tell a story, and it's kind of what I want to do. I mean, I want to focus on like the automotive side, and tonight I thought about doing anything about oil changes. So I got my sheet out about the procedure I do for oil changes, and so right now we're only doing oil changes on Saturday unless it gets too busy, and then we'll put some on for Friday. So here she comes. She's laughing.
wants you to put these on those, on that.
On
Watch.
what?
Spinner rims, watch.
I know that's a hubcap.
No, they're called spinners.
Well, they're a more advanced spinner.
Riding dirty.
Yeah, we could probably figure that one out, and I could make them myself. Some chromies. So Leisure said he ran wide 5 hubs, the Lugar 1 inch. Yeah, so never ran wide 5s, and I know what they are, but my modified is 5-on-5 with a 5/8 stud with a 1 inch lug. And I would use the weather stripping glue to glue the lugs to my spare wheels, and it worked every time like a charm. That's what the NASCAR guys used to do. I never once came in for a flat tire and didn't make it back out there. Some nights were 2 flat tires in one race, one feature race. I don't think we could change a tire in the heat race. Consies and features we could. And then I'd have to start at the back. And man, when I'm already up in the middle of the pack, I come off for a flat tire and I have to start in the back. I'm on a tangent and I drive right back up to where I was. Sometimes even a little farther. Phil, nice to see you, Phil. Drywalling right now. I don't like drywalling at all. Well, maybe because I'm not good at it, and it's messy. Okay, well, good luck, man, and hopefully you're a better drywaller than me. I'm sure you are. It doesn't take much. Yeah, that's cool. You turned us on. Thanks. So yeah, I had a hard time with Rob's spinners. I never seen spinner rims like that. I've seen the spinner hubcaps, but not actual spinner rims. I must be not keeping up with the times. I think it was a few years ago I seen some spinner hubcaps. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good right now. My neck is just a little bit sore, so hopefully we can keep up the trend of going pretty long. Yeah, it seems like I just started, but it says it's 37 minutes ago. So Leisure says, we started on the pole and made it our way back to the front of the bus. Well, that's not good. I always hated starting on pole position. I mean, you either got to go balls to the walls or you're going to get run over. So I guess at some tracks I would like to start on pole, but most of the time, like at Deer Creek, if I got pole, I told everybody I'm dropping to the back. So Phil says, hitting up the Harbor Freight drywall sander can polish a turd job with it. Yeah, I mean, we all got to do drywall at some point, but then when you sand it, the dust gets everywhere. Maybe I got to put plastic down or something. I don't know. Leisure says, I use a riding sander for my drywall jobs. He just rides on it. Used to do body work back in the days, use glide coat on the drywall. People thought was crazy, but turning out smooth as a baby's ass. So, glide coat. So that must be just a thin layer, thinned out layer. Yeah, I don't know much about it, but if you're a body man, then you can see the waves and the little dents and the imperfections. Like my brother's a body man, but I can't do what he does. Shop vac. Okay, so I just don't have that good of tools. So you hook a shop vac up to your sander, yep. Yeah, I even so the tools I have in here, sometimes I even have some cheesy tools, but they seem to get the job done. Seems like every car or some of the bigger jobs all take special tools, so I think I got pretty much everything I need. My impact seized up on me the other day. I'm like, I almost started crying. So I was working on a wheel bearing on that Toyota Prius, and one of the bolts was coming out hard. I had to do the no mercy reversey. I don't know if I could say that, but I was going back and forth, and man, I thought it should have been loosening up, but finally I just kept at it. And then when the bolt came out, my impact is just barely turning. It can barely impact itself. So found out that the anvil was welding itself to the front bushing. So steel on steel, I don't know why they did that. I suppose because of such force. So I used some emery cloth and a little polishing bit, and I got her back going. I put some moly grease in it, the graphite stuff. So Phil says, yeah, automotive bodywork, you use a guide coat, mist it on, or dry powder, sand it until the black powder is gone straight. Yeah, I think I did work at a body shop. I wasn't involved in that. I did the frame rack. I think I remember the guy doing that. So he would, when he got his primer on there, then he would put black, and he'd just hold the gun far away, and just then after that dried, he'd sand it and be able to see where all the low spots were. Lead back in the 80s. Well, I never cared for Bondo or fiberglass. Yeah, that's how the old cars were. All the seams were filled up with lead. And I think they did that up until the 70s for sure. Lead is a lost art these days. Yeah, I remember I melted down a whole bunch of tire weights and made some lead weights for my race car. Poured them into a valve cover, and I remember one time I got the torch tip down into the molten lead, and it went everywhere on me. It only hurt for a little bit. Rob says, no mercy reversey is like the German good and tight. Well, my ancestry is German, but I can't say that word. Michelle, you're gonna have to come back in here. I suppose I could do like a Google pronunciation or something. Yeah, so are you able to get it so when you look at it, you can't tell? Yeah, that's what I mean, Leisure. I don't know if I can say that. No, it's okay, Rob. It's like the German good and tight. Gesundheit. Something like that. I don't know. Yeah, so today was kind of a lighter day, and then I did the oil change and air conditioning job, and then I decided to bring this F350 in and look at the wiring, and I found out that the trailer tow module isn't even plugged in, and somebody tapped into all the wires. Nope. We have a couple beers. I haven't even cracked open a beer yet. Michelle said I should crack open a beer for my live feed. I think last night I only had this week only a couple beers each night right before bed. Rob says it's the response to a sneeze, Gesundheit. Okay. Oh man, I'm like, sometimes it takes me a while to figure things out. Like I can figure car stuff out pretty good, but yeah. So that's what Michelle does. She watches these, and she'll explain it to me later. Oh, I see. Yeah. So Michelle said I should take some ibuprofen or some Tylenol or something, and I'm like, I won't even take that. I'd rather feel my pain a little bit. I can't remember the last time I even had an aspirin. I haven't been to the doctor in like 35 years. No, probably 30. So about 30 years. Leisure said he had 2 Mike's Harder Black Cherry Lemonades today. That sounds good. I did buy some. What was that ones I bought, Michelle, that you drank up on me? Ohio had my joints jacked up from October to April cold. Yeah, I don't think the weather has started to affect me yet. I'm sure it's coming. I'm going to be 53 this year. No, Michelle, what were them little Jack Daniels cherry strawberry things that I bought? I only had 2 of them. Allegedly. Yeah, I agree with that one. Sometimes I get it right away, sometimes I'd never even get it. I'm on root beer. I ran out of Mountain Dew today, so I had some root beer because I seen some at the store, and I wanted Dad's root beer, but all they had is A&W because they sold out the Dad's root beer. I was so upset. Michelle went to go get it for me, and she said they sold out. So I had to get A&W root beer. A&W root beer is good if you go to the A&W, but out of the can, it's not so good. Margaritas, lime, good salt on the rocks. So Michelle knows all the drinks. She does some bartending. So Michelle makes Dr. Pepper, cherries, and cream. Yeah, Dr. Pepper, cherries, and cream. And she puts that in her drinks. She's got like 3 or 4 different kinds of Dr. Pepper she uses. I don't like Dr. Pepper. I don't like how it tastes. I had 2, you had 4. I don't know. Yeah, so Jack Daniels Down Home Punch. They're in little bottles. So after I drink my beers, if I'm still awake, I'll drink one of those before I go to bed. A guy I do business, so Phil says, a guy I do business with was drinking 3 gallons of 100 proof vodka a week. That's a little too much. That's infringing on alcoholism, I think. Crack that beer before it gets warm. Yeah, Michelle got me a beer before we started and set it here. Yeah, I can't believe I couldn't get that scheduled live to work. I'm gonna have to call YouTube. He was an office manager at the shop I go to. Let's see, he's immobilized now. That's not good. It's probably from drinking too much of that. What was it? Vodka? 100 proof vodka? Unfiltered vodka. Did he make it himself or? Like I can't drink hard stuff. Just a little bit of vodka with some Tahitian treat or some 7-Up once in a while. I haven't had one of those. I don't know. Michelle can testify to it for at least a month and a half. Leisure says I used to put a good dent in a 30 pack in the day. Yeah, after the races, I think I could get like 8 to 10 beers down, but I always had to drive back home. I did get pulled over one night, and I was okay to drive. They gave me all the sobrieties and a breathalyzer, and they said I'm okay. And then they gave me a ticket for like my trailer was unsafe equipment or something like that. So I had to fix that and prove that I fixed it, and then my ticket went away. Phil says sent their driver to get it from the drive-through. So you got liquor stores with drive-throughs? I don't think we have any of those up here. I think most of you guys are not this far north. Michelle says, that's insane. 100 proof is enough with 1 shot. How much is regular vodka? That's 80 proof? Guys on his list. Yeah, that's too bad. That's too bad. Hopefully he stops drinking and he can get a couple more years. Leisure says, I was a frequent flyer at the Turn 4 beer stand. Yeah, I don't think we have any beer stands here in Minnesota. Like, okay, yeah, like if there's an event going on or at the races, which this is insane. So at the races at Deer Creek in the pits, if you're not a driver, you could have beer in the pits or alcohol. That's crazy. And then the people that aren't drivers, they drive the Rangers around the golf carts drunk. We do in New Mexico also. Phil says Old Boston, I think, is where it was. So where are you from, Phil? I probably asked this before. So is that like Boston and Massachusetts? Out there on the East Coast? So yeah, last year we went out. I don't know if it was a Go for 50 or if it was some other jamboree race, but we brought the Ranger out there and then we went into the pits. Yeah, we got that thing loaded down with some beer and everything. And we just backed it up to they have a little bit of stands in the back, and we backed in between some of the stands. So Phil says, now hospital said liver shutting down, pancreas damage. Could see his skin turning red, etc. Nobody forced him. That's too bad. Oh, Old Boston is a brand. Okay. Sorry. Sebring, Florida. Yeah, I think I remember that because we're going to take our vacation to Florida this year. Because I'm thinking about moving to Florida and become some sort of mobile mechanic. Like I want to put some trailer wheels on my drive-on hoist and just pull it behind my pickup. But I see here, at least in our area, they don't allow people to work on their vehicles on the streets or in their driveways. There's city ordinances against all that around here. So up here, we get to drink in the stands. So Leisure said we actually got busted for having O'Doul's in the stands one night. Yeah, if you go to Deer Creek, as long as you're not a driver, you can drink all you want. And I think some of the drivers do too. Well, they have to the way they drive. Yeah, I don't know. I watched that Parker's Mobile, but he does all those repairs from his YouTube money and whatever donations he gets. I wish I was that big I could do that up here, then I wouldn't have to pay as much taxes. I would sure love to fix everybody's car for free off my YouTube proceeds. I'd love to do that. I just wonder, yeah, up here, there's some mobile mechanics, but like winter's got to be hell. It's got to be tough. Yeah, I don't understand it either, Rob. We're supposed to have freedoms because we're Americans. But the city people, the higher up people on the councils and stuff, they just don't like that. And I say let's vote them all off, but they keep getting voted in. Phil says, I'm restoring my 2004 Ranger Edge 5-speed extended cab. No, that goes back. Me and Michelle just watched that Ranger video where the guy races the Camaro, the ZL1. I know I showed her before, but she thought that was pretty awesome. Guy's named 3T's mobile mechanic on YouTube claims he makes $200,000 a year. But is that with his? Is that from mobile repairs or is that his YouTube? Because I think I've seen that guy on some short videos or something. Oh, that's the guy that has the bigger truck. Yeah, so that's just his. That's what he makes repairing the cars. Bought it new. Yeah, that's awesome. Because of YouTube, Rangers are more popular now. Ford Rangers. Gold Slagger. Yeah, I don't think I could drink that. The little gold flakes in there, they really bother me. Yeah, no, I seen that guy, and he's the one with the enclosed trailer, yep. Bacardi 151 cherries. Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm going to drink my Busch Light pretty soon. As I say, Bass Pro Shops. It's still cold. I don't want to waste my root beer, though. So Leisure says if he smells rum, he gets sick. Yeah, if I smell like chewing tobacco, I will puke. that smell. And I have a friend that's a mechanic, and he would help me out more, but R134A, if he smells that, if that's even in the shop, he can't work in the shop. And he's a mobile mechanic, but he don't make very much. Was going to crush it, but I had to do rockers on it from Ohio, Florida. This baby will last another 20 years. Yeah, I still have a couple customers that have Rangers. There are some tough little trucks, I tell you. My brother's got one. The customer with the one Ranger, he's got like over 350,000 miles on it. I think it's got like a 4-liter in it or something. Michelle says she hasn't had Goldslager in probably 20 plus years, but that's a good one too. Jesse, you're in Wisconsin. What are you doing? Nice to see you joining in. Yeah, so Rob says, I think mobile mechanics are a great model if you like driving, farm style, repair techniques. Yeah, so there's probably more, or there's probably in my area, there's probably more of a demand for mobile farm type repairs, which my brother does that. Visiting family, oh, that's great. So I hope you're having a good time out there. How warm is it in Wisconsin? I think it's like right around 50 here. 3-liter. I don't remember the 3 liters. Oh, that's like the Taurus engine. Some Tauruses had a 3-liter. I think they had a regular pushrod one and an overhead cam one. 8 and 9 years. Well, I'm sure you're gonna get her going, man. Rangers are back in style. I know I see. Did Ford bring them back, or no? That was a little Maverick. And they got another little one, 2 out. I seen. Yeah, yeah. I seen some videos of some mobile mechanics. Like, I know I grease all the slide pins and all the metal contact points on my brakes, but I see a lot of those mobile mechanics don't do that. Yeah, yeah. This is the second engine in that Ranger, the one that has the 4-liter, and I've had to do some repairs on it. So Michelle says she has family in Wisconsin also. Yeah, that's what I thought. They brought the Ranger back. The AutoZone, Leisure says the AutoZone Mobile Auto Assassin. Okay, is that that's what I should name my business if I'm a mobile mechanic. I buy a lot of stuff from AutoZone. I think by the end of the year, their slip folder is going to be pretty big. And they drive here. So Austin's like 26 miles from here. They drive here whenever I order something. And they even deliver on Saturdays. Michelle calls them up all the time for air filters and stuff on oil change day. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, Rob. Some of those jobs, like, I would not want to do outside. So, yeah, head gaskets, the water pump on the quad fork. Don't quite remember that, but I think it's driven off the chain in the back. Yep. Yeah, I don't know if you could get a 5.0 liter in a Ranger. Timing chains, yep. I have another customer that I think he had like a Bronco with a 4-liter in it. And he took it in to get the timing chains replaced, but he only made it 2 blocks away from the shop and they wouldn't warranty it. I mean, if I put somebody's timing chain in it and they only made it 2 blocks away from my shop, I'm going to stand behind that, but that'll never happen here. I do a lot of timing chains. I stand behind all my work for most of the time. I'll stand behind it for a whole year. Sometimes that gets a little tough depending upon what part I replaced but I always take care of my customers. If they came back to me 2 years later with a problem with something I fixed, I'd work it out with them. yeah, so we were just joking around one night, and because I'm pretty good at diagnosing cars, and sometimes I get a big head, and I don't know who came up with it, probably me, but I'm like, just call me Gov. Uh, so God of vehicles, but I've never like used it in a public setting. So 50 in the 90s Explorers, 2 blocks. I must be missing something. Aha, middle finger mobile mechanic. All right, Rob's comment, 2 blocks. Did I say, what about, what do you mean 2 blocks? Yeah, what about the tire or the water pump on a Ford 3.5 liter? I guess I did see a mobile mechanic doing one of those the other day. That job would suck to do outside. What about if the wind kicks up and blows all the dust and dirt in the engine? I mean, it's probably going to be okay, but I don't like to get dust and dirt in the engines when I got them opened up. Yep, I sure do, Phil. I can't remember. Yeah, so this Ecotech that I changed the timing chain on, so it came in for some tires and some timing chain codes. And then I thought, let me go over here. I thought I would, so this guide was broken off. So I just thought this one right here. So I thought I had a guide, so I popped that in there and got the timing back on. And I couldn't get it lined up right. So then I had to take it all apart and line up the timing. So then, yeah, I changed the chain. I got a couple chains down here. Turns out that these chains are not good enough. So I've decided, I think I found the problem though. Like the teeth on this gear are a little bit wore. So this time I put a brand new timing chain in, come with the solenoids, all the guides. I took the oil pan off and cleaned all this stuff out of the oil pan. But I did this job last night, so about 3 to 10, however many hours that is. So 7 hours I did this job. But that was my third time. But it's good now. Two blocks on a timing chain. So Phil says, I had a shop get the cam sensors mixed up on the 2014 Taurus, kept throwing timing codes. They've torn it apart at least 20 times, cam sensors swap. Did they ever figure it out? Because I guess that's one of the things I did. I did the transmission, the 700 R4. I rebuilt that in my Corvette 4 times in and out. I finally figured it out. It was a cracked input drum. But I never seen the crack. And you know, when I took it apart, I couldn't find any bad parts in it. But I rebuilt it anyways. But I'm not a transmission guy. I know how to do transmissions, but I don't know how to diagnose the internals. Especially on the newer transmissions, you got 6, 8, 10 speeds. I have no idea how to identify which clutch is which. So I just don't do transmissions. And that 2021 Silverado, so we got a quote from the local transmission shop, the good guy. It was $6,000 to rebuild this transmission. So I found a reputable company online, and I think it's like $2,500. He's going to order that transmission, and I'm going to put it in for him. No, I had to figure out for them. Well, that's good. So that's how you get a good reputation, if you can figure out what another shop did. I know Eric O gets a lot of those, and I do too. I'm getting them from the dealers at least 1 or 2 a month now. Well, the dealers they're doing bad around here. They are upselling, and they're not diagnosing right. One of my customers bought a new van from the dealer, and she said the light was on. So they said they'll fix it. She had to wait 2 more weeks to pick it up. She picks it up, drives 20 miles away, the light comes back on again. So she brings it back to them, and they do some more work on it. They still didn't get it fixed. So then they stopped answering the phone, but she eventually got through, and then they kept her van for a couple more weeks. But I guess now it's fixed. So she had me look at it, and I'm like, well, if they're doing this crappy at work, you just got to keep at it, take it back there. They'll eventually get it. Remove and replace transmission world now. Yeah. I see there is a few channels on the YouTube that they rebuild them. JD, hey, how you doing? From Tuesday. Glad to see you made it. They don't even rebuild them at the dealer anymore. No, but I seen Eric O putting in a reman GM transmission the other day he got from GM. I didn't look to see if they had one that I could get for this 2021 Chevy. The problem is they want to put updated parts in it. Yep. So that's a big problem. The good techs all went on their own or left and did something else or retired. And all they got is kids with no experience. Experience matters. Yeah, so I got sick on that live feed too. Remember when I was sniffling and stuffed up and coughing a little bit? So now my shoulders and my neck are all like stiff and sore. And I'm still stuffed up. Yeah, I hope you get better there, JD. So yeah, I had a rough start on this live tonight. The one that I scheduled just would not turn on my phone. Yeah, Michelle, they do go to school, but they're kids, and I don't think they have the same learning ability. Of course, I started learning like at 5 years old watching my dad. And then my dad was a school teacher, or a vocational teacher for automotive and diesels and trucks. My dad had so many certifications. I can't wait to get a billboard up on my wall. I'm going to put them up there. Be about like my dad's a memorial for him. Like the stack of certificates is like this thick. He had a certificate for every single thing. Yeah, so the dealers need to take care of their customers, but the problem is they're hurting and they're so big they need to sell cars. So they make their cars really crappy, so they break down, so people have to buy new cars. Or get them fixed, which they can't fix them. Yeah, I'm still waiting for my warranty claim to come through on O'Reilly's. The rep was here yesterday, and I didn't ask him, but he didn't say nothing about it. I put some steering linkage parts in a 97 Chevy, and they all wore out in 2 years. I knew I probably should. I always have good luck with Napa chassis stuff. It's pretty good stuff. But I used O'Reilly's that time. Yeah, so I know that they only pay like a third of the rate or 2/3 of the rate or something when you do warranty. I never worked at a dealer, but I don't think I got a chance to work at a dealer once, and it was a big dealer, and they had like 10 hoists side by side. Not enough room for me in there. Yeah, you can't work for half pay. So when I got a job just recently, in between my businesses, from when I had my garage to this shop, I had to get a job for a year. And they said that they were going to pay me flat rate. And I said, no, but you could pay me a lower hourly wage. So I told them I'd start out like at $15 an hour or something. And before the year was over, he moved me up to 25, but he also took the guys off flat rate and started paying them all hourly wage, which I felt good about that because I was part of that decision. Now they do a mixture of both, which I'm sure that, I don't know how that works, but it's probably better than just straight flat rate. So Michelle says, My middle son was quoted $6K for a 100-mile service from his dealer. He's getting it done here. He doesn't trust them. Well, first thing, Michelle, you got to finish that quote for him. Yeah, so I was really upset the other day. JD says Dorman is almost guaranteed to come back. So I wanted to get a Cloy's, the phaser solenoid for, I think it was for Honda. Well, I ordered a Cloy's one, and they sent me a Dorman. So then I called them back, and they said, well, Dorman bought Cloy's. So I was really disappointed that day. So the Ecotex used to be made in the USA, Cloy's. I don't think it's made in the USA anymore. But that's the timing kit I put on yesterday, was a Cloy's. I did about a year ago a brand new, I don't know if it was like a later model Chevy with the, oh gosh, I can't say, but I ordered all the timing parts right from GM on that one. So I guess it just depends on the car. Yeah, this gal, she can't even afford to pay for what I did now, so she wouldn't be able to afford the GM stuff. So yeah, so Phil says hourly needs to be offered if you're wanting an unknown check every week for every week pick flat rate. Yeah. I have never worked for flat rate. The guy was going to start me on it, but then I told him I wasn't going to start working there. But he found out who I was and my experience, and he said, well, I'll just start, I'll do some hourly. And then everybody got moved to hourly, which they weren't, the one guy couldn't even pay his phone bill. And that's what I stood up about it. Michelle said, or Leisure says, go Asian for Japanese cars. Yeah. So I hear that's some pretty good stuff. I haven't put much on. There's another brand for those cars too that you can use that's good. It's on the top of my head. I can't remember. I think my memory's going out. So Michelle says, I have most of it and it's around 1K or less. Okay, yeah, she's talking about the quote. Trump will tariff Cloy's. That'll be cheaper to just buy one from the dealer then. Yeah, that's the same as Motorola. Motorola moved over there too. And then I think they switched, their name is Lenovo now, is it? I think the Lenovo still uses the Motorola name. Yeah, we need to bring back some, I'd like to have an American-made Android phone. Come on. So Rob says flat rate is great at higher volume dealerships that crank out the used cars. Yeah, I was going to get a job at Firestone once. And when I went there for my interview, the head tech, he made a lot of money because he did a lot of jobs. And they said if you know your stuff, you can make some money on flat rate. The problem is for me, if I'm working for somebody, I don't like to do all the shit jobs. But they always give the shit jobs to the most experienced ones so they get fixed right. Denzel. Yeah, I put some Denzel stuff on. Michelle says, yeah, but you work every second of every. I do now. We work 8 to 8, and I ended up working last night was almost 10, right, Michelle? But I just wanted to stay on schedule, and this car was working with the timing chain, so I'm pretty good at those Ecotex. I even pulled the pan on it and cleaned that out. I did all of it, the whole timing chain job. I started at 3, and I got done at before 10, and I even road tested it, everything. Made sure it was good. I did not go through a whole drive cycle. I only drove it like 20 miles. Denzel's Electronics only, yep. Leisure says, I only work flat rate on Saturday nights. Okay. That's a good one. All right, I got enough of my, I drank enough of my root beer. I can go to my beer. And it's probably getting a little warm now. Yeah, I should have drank it just a little bit sooner. How long have we been on? 75 minutes. Yeah, it seems like 15 minutes. We're doing good. It says there's 10 people in here. That's cool. Yeah, I wish I could have got the original stream where I put the link in the video too. I put the link in there for the stream. I don't know why it didn't go off on my phone. And then I was like backing out of it, and sometimes I got to back out of it, and then you can hit the part where it says resume. Well, it never gave me that part, and then it canceled the live feed. So Michelle says, I practically have to drag Pete out of the shop every night on Sundays. Yeah, I like to come here on Sundays. I like to watch the races and clean the shop up, or if there's a car here that, I'm behind, I get behind a little bit. I think we're going to get behind. We are really booked out. We're like till May 20th. But I'm trying to spread it out so I don't get overwhelmed. So I do have one more working car out there for the mailman. His brakes are out and his calipers are seized. And it needs an oxygen sensor. But we just put a whole bunch of money into his other mail car, so he's doing good. We just gotta figure out what we're gonna do with the spare one. But the mailman spends a ton of money here. He's got old Honda CRVs. But yeah, you don't want a good car for the mail route. They go on so much gravel and they get abused. I know I used to work on a guy's left-hand or right-hand drive Subaru. He ordered it from overseas. I don't know what happened to that car, but I'm sure he sold it to another mail carrier. Jeffro, I'm glad you're still here. So Rob says my mailman, he puts on miles on like he likes the Jeeps. Yeah, we got one mailman that's got a Jeep. He doesn't come here though, so I don't know where he gets his work done or who puts in his brake pads. Maybe he does it himself. So the guy that had this mailman's car, the one of them, he did all the work himself. He used to have the gas station over here, and then he worked for the post office for a while. And then he retired from there and sold his car to the new mailman. So then the new mailman bought another newer CRV, and so he has two. Yeah, we're just kind of rambling on. I think you know how it goes. That kind of happens on yours. You want to do a subject, but sometimes it doesn't turn out that way. You just got to talk about what everybody's talking about. So Leisure says JDM car. I don't know what a JDM car is. Tow-ins or work-ins. Well, sometimes they'll call me and get on the schedule and they say, well, I'm going to have the car towed to you. Yeah, I don't like cars hanging out here for very long. JD says, my car. Jeffro, Japanese domestic. Leisure says, Japanese domestic market. So yeah, I don't, last year in October, my parking lot was so full, the parts guys were parking out on the road. On the side of the road. So after that, I'm like, I just scheduled too much. I was trying to do too much work. So that was the weekend or my birthday is in October. So I had a week planned to take off for my birthday. So I decided I worked all through my birthday every day to get all those cars done, and then we changed it up. We organized the parking lot. They can only park around the perimeter. And we keep the front of the building clear now, that only the people that pick up their cars or drop them off park there. Or like Michelle parked there and me. But we park farther down. And then I decided not to overwhelm myself and only schedule what I could do. And then, of course, every day you will get a couple walk-ins. Sometimes for a tire. I did 2 tires the other day. Plugged 2 tires. So Jeffro says, made especially for Japan and not intended to be exported. Yeah, so I think you're talking about that Subaru that was right-hand drive for the mail. Yeah, Michelle says that. Sweet poor mailman, thank goodness he has 2 mail cars. We usually have. Yeah, we do. I don't know what he would do if we weren't here. Yeah, so I did ask him, because I'm like, his brakes wore out, and I think it was 26,000 miles. I put in some from Auto Value, some Bosch, which I don't think they're the best pads. But I put in them Bosch pads, and 26,000 miles all I got out of them. So I put in the DFC pads, and there were some really good pads. But I did ask him, I'm like, are you like flooring it between stops and hitting the brakes? And he's like, yep, I got to. So the post office told him, or they had a letter from the main corporate. They sent out a scare tactic, and they told these drivers that if you didn't complete your route that day, you weren't getting paid. And one of the mailmen quit. But anyways, so my mailman told me that was just a scare tactic, but he starts his route, I don't know what time, 9 o'clock, maybe 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning, and he don't get done delivering packages of mail until like 7. So he runs his cars hard. I mean, it's good for me because I get to do the repairs on them. But I do like to keep the mailman going. I like to keep the police cars going. And I don't like working on fleets, but I like working on the police cars and the mail cars, I guess. I do got to go to Olmsted County on Monday and fix an excavator. Not looking forward to that one. I guess it's supposed to get a little warmer this weekend, so hopefully I'm not. Well, they got a big shop too. They can move it in. Yeah, but he told me in town he's fine. It's out there on the country roads. Like when there's a couple miles between mailboxes, he's like gunning it and hitting the brakes hard, he told me. But he'll learn. He just started, I don't know, a year ago. So he'll learn over time. Like, I can't be hitting my brakes that hard or they're gonna wear out. And I gotta spend more money at Pete's. Yeah, I don't know. We're looking for a new chief of police in our town. That position's coming open. I told Michelle to go apply for it. She's probably got some stories she can tell. She don't take no crap, I'll tell you that. I think generally Michelle drives pretty good. I don't think she abuses the cars or anything. Yeah, she says she don't get speeding tickets because they don't mess with her. Oh, they used to mess with me a long time ago, but I shaped myself up, and when I was a kid, the same chief is what we have now, and we got a pretty good relationship going on, and he brings me all the stuff for the police department, which I'm very grateful, because I put all GM parts on the squad. I don't think there's any spending limit, but I make sure it's done right because I know that thing is severe duty. I've seen it go by my shop really fast a couple times. Yeah, so Katrina and Michelle are a lot alike, I think. But yeah, tomorrow, I think tomorrow, I got an old retired semi driver. He's got a, not sure what year it is. Let me try to find tomorrow. Yeah, finally Friday, we got a 2006 Chevy Silverado. He needs a radiator flush. He wants all the hoses replaced. He wants to see why the engine light's on. If it's something simple, fix it. He wants me to do an AC check. He says his AC is working, but he's going on a trip down south where the temperature is going to be a lot hotter. So yeah, flush out the radiator, put all new hoses on it. He said he thinks it's an O2 sensor. He says he thinks I checked it out before. But usually it's not the O2 sensor. Usually it's something else. As far as the AC, I suppose I could just put my manifold gauges on there and see how she's operating. If it's good, I don't think I need to take the refrigerant out and check and put it back in. I suppose I could for the guy, but that costs a little bit of money for me to hook my machine on there, recover all the refrigerant that's in there, vacuum it down, and then put the correct amount back in. Yeah, evap leak on old Chevy. You know, Michelle said she got pulled over a couple of years ago for license plate out, and I told him what he needs to do, and he agreed and apologized. That 06 had the middle brake lines, right? Yeah, I think they're middle brake lines. Yeah, it's a 2006 Chevy Silverado. Yeah, I'm assuming it's got all metal brake lines. I don't know. And Michelle says, Katrina and I need to hang out so we can go to glamping. Must be we'd have a blast. That ran up on the frame and to rot out. Yeah. I'll check all his brake lines. He always parks this thing in the garage, and he's been retired for almost a year now or so. And when he's out driving, the thing is always, he doesn't drive that truck in the winter, so I don't think it's rusted out. But up here, yeah, I get a lot of rusted out Chevys, especially the frames. Yep. Some of them are so bad, I don't do videos on them because I don't want to embarrass my customer. That was in Spring Valley. Rob says, girls trip. LOL, the boys will miss the help. Yeah. Yeah, whenever Michelle doesn't help, I miss the help because there's so much to do. She's got some slips she can put in. There's a whole bunch of mailings here I got that gotta be gone through. Camping, but glamorous camping with the motorhome. Yeah, we need to do some more work on the motorhome. We got our water heater in. We're just waiting for a warmer day to put it in. Oh, you call it glamping. I didn't know that, Michelle. You didn't tell me that. I don't know, Rob. It says your message was retracted. Did you retract it or did YouTube? I didn't do it. Yeah, so I don't know if everybody got to see my big wrench. I'll go get, it's right here. So I was at Menards the other day, and I've been eyeing this wrench for a long time. It's a 2-inch Master Force, but this is a big wrench. And I'm like, we were there just the other day, and I'm like, Michelle, can I buy this wrench? We got enough money so I could buy it. It was like $33. So I just wanted it to hang on my wall. It's pretty heavy. I just love it. My brother's got a bigger wrench than that, but I don't. So, yeah, so Rob said, yeah, wrong emote I did. So you were able to retract it, or you did? That's weird. Katrina needs to kick her butt, haha. Leisure says only if she wears the uniform. Yeah, okay. I just wanted to know what was going on. I like to be able to figure things out. So yeah, I'm working on an app. That's this thing. So I'm gonna put this down on your strutter next to your wheel bearing, and this will measure the audio signal of how loud your wheel bearing is. So I've been working on this, developing it. That's a little Seed ESP32, and this is just a power bank. But I think I could show you. Let me go get my scanner, because I put the app on there today, and I've been developing that on MIT App Inventor. So this thing's kind of cool. So let me go get the scanner, because the app's on there. All right, so here's what the app looks like. I think it's better if we go this way, because there's my logo. If you put it this way, the logo is crunched, so I got something wrong. So now we turn on this thing. So it's got a little power button. And then it'll say connected up here. It should. There it's connected. So now it's reading me talking. And that's not decibels, but it's just the serial signal I send over to this. Yeah, so, and I see I got a problem in my code right now, because the maximum didn't get recorded. The maximum was 1654. But yeah, so I got one sensor. The development's coming pretty good. And then we'll go ahead. 2 clicks is off. And then it'll go back to disconnected. Yep. So I've been working on that in my spare time. Yeah, so I see somebody was playing my BOA game on my website. Somebody said test, and I think somebody's trying to hack my website. So I went into the database today and deleted all those. Whoever was doing it did it like almost 100 times, but their score and their level were at 0. Yeah, I love developing little projects like that. Well, that's what I used to do after work when I had a job. I'd come home and work on apps and develop stuff and make little gadgets. But just lately, I've had just a little bit of time where I could start working on that again. No, it stores it on a database through GoDaddy. And then I got some kind of encryption on there where you can't hack my site through the database. But I think that's what they were trying to do. I do got some on my WordPress. I got something for people trying to hack my website, and sometimes I'll get like 100 notifications of people trying to sign in all at the same time. I think it's like a brute force attack. Somebody's here, so I just gotta go see who that is. Oh, it's Michelle. Never mind. It's just Michelle. Yeah, so I went in there today and I kept it, I just updated everything. There was 9 updates I had to do. But when my website does get attacked, I can't log in. It don't even let me walk in, and I gotta go into the cPanel, disable the protection I got, and then log in and then quickly enable the protection again. But today I was able to log right in the normal way. But yeah, I don't know if they hacked my website, if there's anything really bad can happen to me. It, I think I got backups of everything, and I don't know, like, I don't think anything bad can happen to me. I don't think there's anything on there somebody could steal that would compromise my situation. They would just break in and probably, I don't know what they would do and why they wanna take down my website so bad. It's just a basic, simple website. And before I had WordPress, it was unsecure, but I never got attacked. My first web hosting was with Yahoo, I think. And then they went out, and then I wanted my website, because it didn't cost very much. It costs a little bit more now. And then as far as my SSL certificates, somehow I don't have to pay for those. I figured out a way where I get those for free. So Rob also says, and GoDaddy, you can verify doing daily, weekly backups for you. Yeah, I know I got it all backed up. Yep. So I made one of those bots once, not to attack people's websites, but it's kind of like a search engine. But sometimes it would get stuck at certain sites. But there's sites out there that you don't know about. But I don't know why would they, well, so it's just picking my website, but yeah, I don't think nothing bad could happen. And I used to let people subscribe to my site, but I turned that off because people were being able to get in there, bots were, and then they'd leave me weird messages and stuff. So if you want to actually become part of my website, you'd have to talk to me, and then I would have to sign you up. But there's no reason to. So only like Michelle, if she wanted to be an editor or write stories or something. Well, I do have a DTC index I'm starting. So something like direct hit. I'm started doing that. So like if I ever get that farther, or if somebody wants to become a developer on that part of it, I would have to let them gain access to the website.
Can you pull those 3 cubes out for me? They're already cracked.
I don't think they're all cracked.
Thank you.
Went down the wrong pipe a little bit. I'm okay. All right, I'm better. Well, that's what I get for just sipping on my beer. Rob says, "Hi, we are nerding on tech stuff. Only thing I suggest if you haven't is get Google verified. I can send you details. I'm not sure what Google verified is." Yeah, no, I do. My website is Google verified.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And then I code a lot too, so Google knows my coding. They keep like every coder codes a little bit different. I code mine as close to English as you can. Yeah, I haven't. This was like the first time in a year I've logged in. But I had to change my hourly rate because we jacked up the rates a little bit because they're taking so many taxes, which next year that's going to bite me, but I got to get through this year first.
We're gonna get through it, we'll be all right.
Yeah, it went down the wrong pipe a little bit, Leisure. It's good beer, I think.
It's just warm, here's a cold one.
Yeah, maybe that's it. It's a little too warm. I don't like warm beer.
Okay, I'll be right outside,
Okay.
kinda.
Yeah, Michelle doesn't like to be in here when I'm doing these live feeds. I don't know why she was like doing it, but maybe we argued too much a little bit on the live feed, so I think she just decided that she'd be better as a commenter. But I apologized to her and told her I could use the help. Like, she can watch these comments more. And they're up on my TV too, so she doesn't have to watch her phone all the time. But I don't know why on my phone that they don't stay up. The comments don't stay up. They're disappeared right now, so I always have to look down here at my computer. Yeah, she does keep me in line. I don't know what I'd do without her. She does a really good job around here. And like, like I had some younger kids working in here, just cash. And I told the younger kids, like, if you're done doing the tasks I told you and you're not on break, you can sweep the floor, organize the shop, pick up tools. But they never got it. But Michelle will wash the floor or sweep the floor. Or she doesn't know where the tools go, so she can't do that. But she does more than her part around here. Yep, she definitely keeps me in line. And I'm glad she helps out as much as she does, because the first pile of slips I gave her when she first started was like 3 inches tall. And I'm like, I was dreading going through all them slips and putting them in. But I had gotten behind from when I first moved in here. Like the move from my garage to in here. And it was a lot to handle at first, but then I met her and I'm like, you think you could help me out with these slips? And she got them all in within a day. So, and then she learned how to do the filing system, the billing system. She learned all that. She still does it a little bit different ways. There's more ways than she always tells me. There's more ways to accomplish the same goal. But that's just because I have extensive use with computers. I know like some of the more shortcuts and copy and paste shortcuts and all that, and how to do that. She doesn't use the computer as much as I have. Yeah, that's definitely for sure, Rob. I was working on that Prius the other day, and I told her, have you ever driven a Prius? And she said, no. And I said, well, I'm going to get a Prius. Maybe you should drive this one and see what it's like. But I was just laughing so hard on the inside. Especially when the engine was turning on and off for her. She's like, she didn't like that at all. And then you step on the gas and you just really can't go. And then the brakes feel funny if you ain't hard braking. It uses regenerative braking. I like a Prius, and I think I'll get one. If I can find one. I want an older one. Well, something cheap anyways. Yeah, she knows where the tape drawer is. So we got a drawer in the back that has zip ties and tape. And a few other things in there. But I want to get it set up just for tape. So anytime I go to Menards or someplace, and I see a roll of tape that I don't have, I'll buy it just so I can put it in my drawer. Yeah, I mean, we might not get one, but everybody has to experience what it's like to drive a Prius. Because when you're behind a Prius and you're honking the horn or flipping the guy off, there's a reason why he can't go. I think we went out for 2 miles, and I don't know if we even got up to 60. That's just how it is. I mean, you could floor it, but I told her how to read the bar gauge on the dash. I'm like, you're using the engine power. You're using battery power and engine power. You can't do that. JD said he used to have a 2003 Prius come in. It was a tiny car. Yeah, they're tiny. I don't know. I wouldn't buy it like to save the planet, but I would buy it to save me some money on gas. My dad used to have a or I don't know what year it was, but it was a Ford Festiva. I think my dad's was a 4-cylinder, and it was carbureted with a 5-speed. I think maybe Rob's dad had one of those too, but Ford Festiva, yep. I think the rims were a 12-inch. I think we were talking about this on Jeffro's live feed. Yeah, so any of you guys in here, Jeffro has a live feed every night, or on Sunday nights at 6:30 Central Time. That's how most of us guys that are in here now know each other. Michelle says they're horrible. I can walk faster than a Prius can go. Well, that's why you always honk at these Priuses when you don't understand that that car's just not made to go fast. It's made for gas mileage. JD says early 90s then. Yeah. Love my Festiva 1.3 liter. I'm not sure the liters on my dad's, but I know it was a 4-cylinder. I don't think it was a 3-cylinder. Geos were 3 cylinders. Yeah, for a little gasser, that I know my dad got up there. Maybe it might even been more than that. I don't know. They were a Kia. JD says they were a Kia. Yeah, I'll give you a shout out, Jeffro. I suppose you don't mind if I call you your real name. I know I already have. I never asked if I could do that. So Leisure said my friend converted a Chevy Cruze to electric. He kept a 5-speed manual trans. Yeah, I know Cruze. I thought they had electric. But even worse, if you pull out of the driveway too soon, you'll be crushed by a baby in a walker. Might have been 1.6. Hell, I can't remember. Yeah, it was a long time ago. I know. I think I only drove that car one time because I was older, but my younger brother got to drive it a lot. But yeah, my dad had to drive like 40 some mile, or no, it would have been a round trip, would have been around 80 miles. I think he averaged like putting 100 miles a day on that car. And he had a lot of miles. I don't remember how many miles he had on it, but it was a lot. He had to put a couple clutches in there, I think. The Chevy Volt was electric. I thought, so I had a Chevy Cruze diesel in here the other day, an Eco Diesel. It was like that 2.4 Ecotec, but it was a diesel. Shotgun, ever see the Shotgun Festivos? Leno had one. No, I never seen that. I do watch some of Leno's stuff when I see it. He's got a lot of stuff and a lot of weird stuff. Michelle says Jay Leno is awesome. Yeah, I remember watching him on whatever it was, the Tonight Show or the Late Show or whatever. Katrina parked her Expedition in favor of her broom. Shogun. Okay, yeah, show. Yeah, maybe I did, but that's a while back. Yeah, I think I remember that. So like the Ford Taurus, maybe he might have put that engine in there. Oh, you think Ford made 7 of them? Okay, yeah. So it would have been like, an old. I think Roush does some stuff for Ford, and you can get that factory. Or what was the other guy that did it? Gosh, I can't be put on the spot. I'm telling you. Like the memory bank up here is pretty big, but it takes a long time to recall that stuff. So the guy that did it for Yeah, the Cobras. Who was involved with the Cobras? Oh my God, Leisure, I can't believe. Never mind. You can only type now. Leisure's like, it's a Ford Festiva. Shelby, yeah, Carol Shelby. That's who I'm talking about. See, Rob always gets this stuff, even on Jeff Rose lives. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but lately I've been drawing blanks a lot. Maybe it's because I'm just extra anxious or nervous about my live feeds. I did start making like a list of what I can talk about. But then I'll constantly be looking down and I won't get to any comments, and then Michelle will be she'll get out the paddle. Yeah, Roush, Saline and Shelby up. And I think like a Yanko Novas, had some stuff to do with the factory. You could get a Yanko Nova. Copos, specially built Chevys. Leisure's like, anyone remember the GLH? Well, maybe if you tell us what a GLH is. I'll just type it in. Omni, yeah. Dodge Omni. Plymouth Horizon, yeah. So those cars, my friend had a paper route. Would they have the 2.2 in it? Non-turbo. But I think it was, I don't know if it was let's just say it was an Omni. I can't remember. But over on the passenger side, the throttle cable, the accelerator had a rod that ran through the middle, and then on the passenger side, if you could put your foot down there, you could pull the throttle open. I did that to my buddy on the paper route, and he freaked out. And I took us for a ride. Goes like hell. See, I'm telling you, Leisure. Go like hell. Yeah, we always did that when we were younger. Especially if the cops were behind us. Or somebody wanted to kick our ass. As long as the cop didn't have his lights on and I was far enough ahead, I went like hell. And I remember I was going to backtrack on the cop one time on Broadway. So I went all the way down Broadway. He caught me racing. And I'm like, I'm gonna turn around and then come back behind him. Well, he anticipated what I was doing. And when I was coming back out on Broadway, he was turning in right where I was, but he just made me roll down my window and he said, take that thing to a track or I'll find a place for your license. And I'm like, yes, sir. See you later. And I left. Yeah, that's one thing I learned a long time ago when I was a kid. When I got pulled over, it's always, yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I always called him sir. And I think it helped me out. I didn't get as many tickets. I never was drinking and driving or anything like that. I was always racing around. So yeah, I don't have too busy of a day tomorrow, so it's not going to be too bad. And then probably should get in contact with the mail guy and see what he wants to do with his car so we can make a plan. Leisure said Katrina holds the Air Force highest award for her aerial acrobatic maneuvers on a broom. I think Leisure is just having fun and joking around with us tonight. I want to get a four-wheel drive Ford Taurus. I don't know if they make those in shows or what. Yeah, a guy was telling me they made a four-wheel drive or all, maybe it's an all-wheel drive Ford Taurus show. JD says, I remember the old Hyundai Sonatas, early 90s, had brake booster and master cylinder on the passenger side, had a rod going from the brake pedal to the master cylinder on the other side of the car. Yeah, I don't know. We were doing the paper route, and all of a sudden, I felt something moving under my feet when he was using the accelerator. So once he gassed it, I just held her wide open and stuck my foot under there, and we went for a pretty good ride. Yeah, so these DFC pads I do, they're fleet pad, or they came about. They bought out another brake company, and then they do pads for U.S. postal vehicles and FedEx, and then some other fleets. So they're constantly putting R&D in their pads. And the next time our squad car needs pads, my rep said he's going to give me a set of these pads just to put in there. But I've been putting them in everything. I don't know. We're up to like 50 sets maybe. I'm not getting any more Girl Scout cookies. They ran out. Because if you got pads and rotors, you got a free box or bag. I didn't know Girl Scout cookies came in bags, but they do nowadays. So the last they ran out of the Girl Scout cookies, and then they brought me a couple Kit Kats. They stopped at the gas station and got me some. But now when I order them, they don't have it anymore. The special ran out. So yeah, these DFC pads I think are good. One of my other guys, I can't remember, I think it was Walter, he was saying I should use some different kind of pads, but I don't have one of those stores or have no access to those pads. Brake fluid, I don't know. You could .3 and .4 are interchangeable, and I think they're up to .5 or 6 now, but I just keep .3 and .4 in the shop. Yeah, because his brake calipers are going bad. His older car had 2 bad brake calipers, and now his newer car did, and now this older one has 2 bad brake calipers, so maybe they ain't getting enough fluid exchanges. JD says it seems like we do more brake jobs than anything. Gets pretty trying. Yeah, I don't mind doing brake jobs on cars. When you get to the heavy trucks, I don't necessarily like to do it, but I got to do it if they come in, if they need brakes. And then when the cars come in on Saturday for oil change day, we do a free inspection. So I check all their brakes and make sure everything's working. And then I let the customer know that, hey, this looks like this is getting to this condition. If you got a light bulb out or need an air filter or something, I usually just do that anyways. I did have one customer complain about it a couple weeks ago, but she's over it now. She brought her car back in for the valve cover gasket also. So she knew she needed an air filter and stuff, and a light bulb, but she wasn't expecting to pay for that at the oil change when I did the oil change. But I told her I would take payments, but she paid it all. Yeah, I like cookies, chocolate chip cookies. Yeah, I don't like Dollar General's cookies, but I gotta have something in the morning. No, well, yeah, I check all your fluids. I guess I got a transfer case service coming in this next Saturday. But I like to keep it to oil changes or fluid exchanges or whatever. No, I'm not going to do no transmission fluid exchanges because that takes a little bit. You'll have to schedule a new appointment but I check all your fluids. I check all your brakes. I check all your lights. I fill your washer fluid. I fill your tires. I don't do a printed out inspection, but I do a visual, and it's pretty intense because I know everything to look at. We are going to start checking more. Like I don't usually test drive your car, and so I don't know if so I'm going to start doing that, like road test the vehicle before we do the oil change, because you could pick up on some wheel bearings. People don't know when their wheel bearings are bad. And then like I had a customer the other day had bad wipers. Well, he's just in for the oil change, so I don't normally check like the windshield wipers. We do fill the washer fluid, but so I'm gonna start doing a road test where I check the wipers and listen for the wheel bearings, any drivability problems. So if your check engine light is on, usually I won't check and see why. I'll just recommend you to come back in and get scanned, because it's just me changing oil, and if I got 6 or 7 oil changes, I only like to work 9 to noon. So just to do all them oil changes in that amount of time is pretty hard. Yeah, I actually like peanut butter cookies better. Yep, so that's what we used to do at the place where I worked at before. But we did a whole, can't remember what inspection app he used, but we did a whole online inspection. But I think for I'm gonna start doing that here. Well, actually, I already did. So I'll take your car out for a short drive and make sure your wiper blades are good and the wheel bearings and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a good idea. So I'm gonna change my new I'm gonna change my oil change procedure rules to include the test drive because that's not on here. But I had to come up with this for one of the guys that worked here because he did not know all the proper things to do on a normal oil change. I think she meant cell, check engine light. Yeah, well, check engine and then light. Frosted chocolate cherry cookies. Never had those. So I do have my own online inspection thing with Ari, and I do inspections for people. And if you want a code scan with your inspection, it's $90, and it's top to bottom. I don't know how many points there is, and it allows me to put pictures in there. So if you got, I usually only take pictures of what's bad. So if your belt's bad, I'll take pictures of that. If your fluids are bad, I'll put all your fluids in there. Pictures of all your fluids. Yep, Auto Vitals was the one we used at the other shop I worked at. And I thought that was a pretty good inspection app. But you got to pay money for that. Mine comes with Ari, and it's built into Ari, and I only pay $65 a month for Ari. So Ari lets me text people quotes, and it's an online shop management system. It still has some flaws, and I don't do everything through there, so I just do my quotes and the inspections. And I think there's a couple other things I use it for. Got to get chocolate covered coffee beans. Yeah, I don't like coffee, so I think Michelle used to drink coffee. She don't drink coffee anymore, which is a good thing for me. I can't do chocolate. Yeah, Michelle can't have chocolate. Yep. Michelle Daisy, we had, yeah, I got a brake fluid tester, and then even though they say the Chrysler antifreeze is bad when you buy a new Chrysler product, I'm not 100% decided on that. So as long as you got a newer car and your antifreeze looks clean, I don't recommend you need to flush unless it's on your service interval, or if you got an older car, and then it absolutely needs it. So the other things I would test with fluid strips, well, mostly brake fluid and coolant. Organic. Yeah, it's organic acid technology or hybrid organic acid technology, and I'm pretty sure the Dexcool rots out the harder plastic stuff. I don't know, that harder plastic stuff they got reminds me of Bakelite. But like your intake gaskets, that's why it eats through the plastic and rots them out. The Dexcool. So Dexcool's organic acid technology. I don't think there was anything wrong with the green stuff. They just went to this other stuff. And then every manufacturer's got their own. So there's like everything is different. You got blue antifreezes, you got Ford has so many different antifreezes, it's insane. Nylon, yep. So that harder plastic stuff, but Dexcool seems to eat through it over the years. JD said, "Boss drinks pure black coffee. Yuck." Yeah, I just never got into coffee. I don't like the smell of it either. 66, 66, I think. I don't know what that means. Chocolate espresso beans. Yeah, she gets some mix from Fleet Farm. Trail mix stuff. Which we had to go to Fleet Farm the other day to get some transfer case fluid for the Ford pickup that's coming in, and I know it says to use Mercon or some kind of Mercon LV, but I used the Valvoline transfer case fluid in those because it's got some extra additives in it, and I've been using it in my truck for a while, so I know it works, and it says it's compatible. So, but that's what I use for transfer case fluid for the mid-year Fords only. It's Java mix. Okay. Well, it's like a trail mix, Java mix. They just call it Java because their coffee beans are in it. Valve leak, yeah. Yeah, my Napa oil that I use is made by Valvoline. Which I had a guy they want to sell me some oil. And he says that Napa oil is recycled oil, but I don't know if I believe him on that one. Yeah, JD says Valvoline ATF stinks so bad. Yeah, I think I remember that. I don't know why. Yeah, used transfer case fluid. That's because there's a viscous clutch in there. And then, yeah, I don't ever have a problem with 80/90, but Michelle doesn't like it, especially if it's burnt. Or gear oil, put it that way, gear oil, because hardly anything uses 80/90 anymore. And a lot of times, like if you're bringing me a Ford Explorer and the diff fluid's dark in the rear, I'll put 75/140 in there. And then if you do got a GM product that uses 80/90, it depends if it's leaking or not. If it's not leaking, I'll upgrade that to a synthetic fluid. Especially for like manual transmissions on the older Chevy, synthetic fluid is so much better. Yeah, gear oil. Yeah. I don't know what car we were working on, but I guess it smelled bad for me too. Yeah, it was wasn't it a Nissan pickup or what was it, Michelle? But the bearings went out in the diff and I was able to fix it and it's still going. That was about a year ago. Yeah, I've never had a diff go out that I rebuilt. Rebuilt myself, and I rebuilt a couple of them. I did a Ford 8.8 not too long ago. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little more stuffed up now. I think it's just sitting here in the chair for this long of a time. But yeah, I have fun talking to you guys. I learned a little bit too, so. And then I get to find out I got a lot of stuff in common with some of you guys. JD, how old are you, JD? I probably asked you that before. Yeah. Yeah, today when I was working on that air conditioning, I happened to smell a little bit 134A. But I was okay. When I unhooked the coupler, I could smell it a little bit. 43, yeah, you got some experience going on there. But yeah, one of my buddies, he's a mobile mechanic and he can't be around air conditioning. So if he comes to visit me or help me out a little bit, and I'm working on air conditioning, he's out of here. He doesn't even tell me he's leaving. Like, I don't know, that smell bothers him so badly, but I don't even smell it. You can hardly smell it. I don't know what happened to him that it smells so bad. But I'm like, I got a machine, and the only time I'm going to leak any refrigerant is when I unhook the couplers. You know, it pops off a little bit, and that's the only time I get any. Michelle says, one day last year, smelt something terrible in the shop. Pete asked if it was a hole he had open underneath the vehicle and asked me to smell it. What? Pete asked if it was a hole and he had open underneath the vehicle. Yeah, that was that. I think it was a Nissan. I can't remember. Nissan pickup, the diff was bad. I think after I finally cleaned the whole housing out with brake cleaner and stuff, it got better in here. But it smelled, I thought something was burning maybe. Is what the smell smelled like. Yeah, I was laughing so hard, yep. Well, that was pretty mean when I told you to stick your head in there and smell that. But you know me, I joke around a little bit sometimes. So yeah, I said in the video I was taking this truck out, but I figured I'd leave it in here so it didn't look like my shop was empty. But they haven't brought, so in the morning when the guy brings that truck, I got to give him a ride back to his house. Rob says, I used to love the brand new exhaust with the stickers. Why don't they make those so you can wash? Yeah, the other day I put on some new Cadillac converters for a guy that had his stolen. And I couldn't get those stickers off all the way, so some was left on there. But I did make sure I drove it for a while and burned them off. Yeah, I don't know why they don't. Why do they even got to put stickers on it? Yeah, we put on some MagnaFlow Cadillac converters. The only thing I could get for this older Jeep. They were discontinued from Chrysler or Jeep or whatever you want to call it. Gear oil has sulfur in it. I didn't know that. Up here in Canada, they outlawed the good brake cleaner. The new stuff, acetone based, and it smells worse than the old stuff. Really, that sucks. Because Michelle don't like brake cleaner smell either, and Leisure knows of some good stuff. Leisure can give you the number for some good stuff off the top of his head, but if they outlawed it, I don't know. So Leisure said they outlawed the good brake cleaner here in Connecticut. So the stuff I really like is the Penray. That stuff doesn't smell bad at all, and it cleans fairly well, and it's fairly cheap. Like I think I just pay over $3 a can for the stuff I get. Of course, I buy 5 cases at a time, and I'm getting low again. I got to buy more. But I know like the Dave's Auto and Truck Center, they use Penray. But my rep told me about it, and ever since he gave me a can to try, and I'm like, all right, I need this stuff. But I'm still waiting. I think Leisure said the stuff he had or recommended me to get, which I can't get, had a scent added to it. But I did buy the 2 cans that were around that can, just so I could have some extra brake cleaner, so I could do a video on it someday. But yeah, the Penray stuff. So this is the best brake cleaner I've used. Right here. So the number is 4520, but I don't know if that's outlawed or not in Canada. Mass airflow sensor cleaner. Yeah, I keep some of that on hand. I don't know if that works as good as this stuff for brake cleaner. The Walmart brake cleaner, I don't like to use that. That can get into the paint a little bit. Depending upon how your vehicle is painted, is if it's going to damage it or not. So I use like the Walmart stuff. Like, I don't like to use it. And Menard stuff is even worse. It smells so horrible. Yeah, what kind were we using? Oh, I get stuff from AutoZone, Shop Pro stuff, I think. That's even cheaper than this. And that stuff, Michelle couldn't take it. She got sick off of it. Seems to work fine. I'm telling you, I use a lot of brake cleaner around here. I got a parts washer too, but I don't know if it's cheaper for me to get the 55-gallon barrel of brake cleaner and use the air can or this, but I decided I didn't want the cans because I don't think it cleans as good as like this stuff. But I think where I worked, we were going through a 55-gallon barrel of brake cleaner every month. So, but we had 4 guys. I used to use CRC red. Yeah, I got some CRC. I don't remember what that smells like. Yeah, so this stuff, you could spray it on your clothes. It won't damage it, but it'll take out an oil stain. I can't remember what Michelle got on her jacket one time, but I'm like, let me try this. And we saved her jacket. Oh, she got PVC, which we were putting in the pipe, the water pipe up here for over there at Michelle's place. So this pipe up here, and she was holding the ladder for me, and I spilled some of that purple primer on her jacket, and I felt really bad. So I got out the Penray and sprayed it down, and you can't tell that purple primer was on there. So Rob says part cleaners are great, but you can't beat the spray stuff. Yeah, I agree with that. They sell the big vans with hand pumps so you can pressurize yourself. That works well too. Yeah. Oh, the big cans. They sell the big cans hand pumps so you can pressurize. Yeah, I don't know if, like, I don't know. When we used it at the place I used to work at, I didn't like it. And then JD says right now they use a Worth MAF cleaner. Well, that sucks that they're making these laws. So in Canada, they're pretty strict on stuff. That sucks. And then Leisure said in Connecticut too. I think he said that. Yeah, it was the purple primer for PVC pipe. That's what it was, Michelle. Yeah, we can go over here and check out. Maybe that'll remind Leisure, because he said, maybe it was lemon scented stuff. So I like bought every kind of brake cleaner I could find. This is, so I got to turn on the light. So this stuff here is really cheap, but it's really smells bad. Super Tech, yeah, that stuff's not good. So this stuff, one of these, but I couldn't get the stuff that's had the lemon in it, like Leisure said. They just had these 2 cans. Now this stuff here is from Menards, and that smells really bad. And the Croyle is no good. I got some 3M, Napa CRC. See, I knew I had CRC. Got some O'Reilly's. Yeah, this stuff here is better than the Croyle. Kraken is better than Croyle. Yeah, I bought this one just because it said bull snot. And I got some Ultra Screw Loose. I bought that just because it says screw loose. But this stuff here is the best penetrating oil on the market, and they don't make this anymore. You can't even get this, so I don't use this anymore. Vaporized alcohol is a hell of a bad though. Yeah, I keep a couple bottles of isopropyl around here. It didn't hurt my jacket. It came right out. White cloth. I couldn't believe it. I still wear that jacket. Yeah. Yeah, I'll turn that off. I'll probably plug in the scanner. I think it was plugged in, so I'm good. Yeah, I don't know. I don't leave any lights on in here at night. Like, bigger businesses will usually leave a light on inside. I don't do that. Yeah, I will. course, I'm here late every night, so I'm still on my first can of beer. So that's a good thing. But yeah. Yeah, I'm having fun. I'm having fun with the YouTube videos. I'm getting better. I like doing the short videos in the mornings. Try to do one just most of the time I can't do a second video or like today I didn't do a first video, but then I'm like, well, I better do a video because I'm want to tell everybody to come to my live feed that didn't work. And then so I did one on this truck. Yeah, we turn all the lights on. So I usually get in the shop like 7:30, maybe a little bit after. And then we have customers will start calling anytime like 7:30. And our scheduled hours on Google are 8 to 8 and then 9 to noon on Saturdays. When I first started, I worked 8 to 8 every day, even Sundays. But then I met Michelle and she said she's got to have some time. Yeah, hopefully I get better at it. It seems like some days are better than others. But when I worked on that Prius, the first Prius, I've only worked on 3 Priuses in my whole life, but 2 this week. That was really weird. But when I found the air conditioning leaking on that, where I found the leak on that first Prius, I was super excited. I'm like, I found that right away. So I wanted to do a video. Yeah, if you search Custom Car LLC, and I suppose you'll have to type in Minnesota, I should come up on Google. So it's hard because you can't control the job and the content. Some are gold on their own, yeah. But I did notice that a lot of the other guys are just doing like rant videos about what they're working on, and I did that too. And I like to show a lot of wheel bearings that are bad. People seem to like to look at or hear bad wheel bearings. But I did notice, like, if I just start out my day and tell people what I'm going to start out on, that people like that. Seems to go over better than the other videos. Like, I know when I worked for somebody, you know, we stood around the shop in the morning because we were told to be there at 7:30, so we'd watch YouTubes on our phone. So, and our first car would be in the bay already. So, yeah, Michelle takes her time coming in. I think she dreams of sleeping. No, she's been getting in earlier now since she's got her surgery done. She's been feeling so much better. It's like I think God gave her a little miracle there. She is feeling so much better. She didn't know how sick she was. And I'm so happy for her. No, I'm the one that the only reason I want a shop cat is because I like the cat on South Main Auto Channel, but I just don't think I have the time to take care of a cat. So you work 8 to 10s, JD? Yeah, the one that's scented it's got a scent in it. And you told me the number. And I have it written down in my notepad. I just don't know how many pages that is. But the only place I can get that from is Auto Value, and they could not get that. I even ordered it, and they credited me back. Because it was listed under their thing, but just says not available. But I bought some of the scented stuff, but they credited my money back. Luna reminds me of one of my old cat, Fluffy. Yeah, I think Eric's got a pretty nice little shop cat there. It gives him something else just to tip away from the car video just once in a while. Yeah, I thought about it only because Eric has one. Like, I idolize this guy. He's like the best. He's the best mechanic, and not only is he the best mechanic, he's on YouTube and he shows everybody how to fix the cars. Yeah, he won't say that, but he's absolutely. He can fix any car, I think. They're like, I used to watch his videos every day before I went to work when I had a job. Yeah, see, Michelle's dog, Daisy, we don't know how she would do, the dog would do with the cat. Yeah, I've learned so much from, and he's liked some of my comments, but he's never responded back to one. But yeah, he has to be like one of the best. And I don't know, he doesn't like to be called a mechanic or a technician or anything either, but he's one of the best people that can fix a car, and he can fix anything. He has a ton of experience, and he says he's not a car guy, but whatever. I guess maybe I'm turning into not to be a car guy, but I still want to get the modified going and retint it with my business colors, and then that's my number, so that's what I used to race. And then I don't know if I should put the Confederate flag on the roof or not, but it's kind of controversial, and I don't want people like thinking I'm something that I'm not. Leisure said his old dog didn't like cats. Fluffy was the alpha cat of the litter. She decided to challenge the dog. Yeah, cats are that way. Yeah, so I idolize like Eric Owen. I just try to do as good as he does, but I'm not even close. He is very good at making the videos too and explaining every part that you need to know on how he fixed that car, which is great. He could convey that to his watchers, which is awesome. That's probably why he's got almost 1 million followers now. I have the problem where, I fix something, but I can't convey the message the way he does. But maybe someday I'll get better. Well, thanks, Leisure. Appreciate that. Well, I think his business is his primary job, but I know he makes a lot of money on YouTube. So he's got his, I don't know, I think Josh and maybe somebody else in there that works really hard that don't do the videos, but he gets to pick which cars he does the videos on. And then I don't know how many cars he fixes a day, but I imagine he fixes his share. And then he's got his own home channel too, where he fixes his projects up at home. But yeah, he makes a lot of money on the YouTube. If I got into his position where I could earn that much money on YouTube, I would fix people's cars for free, and then I wouldn't have to pay the taxes that they're going to charge, that they are charging me. Yeah, so maybe it's more shifted to where he's the boss and he just does the YouTube and he does it on whatever car he wants. Yeah, you're probably right, Rob. Michelle said she had 17 barn cats. Yeah, that's definitely for sure. I don't like some of he's changed it up a little bit. Like some of the slang and some of the gestures he would do. At least the video I watched last time, he's took a net out of there. That's the only thing I didn't like. I don't know what gangs, all them gang, what he does with his fingers or whatever. So, but I see the last video I watched, he didn't have none of that. I do try to watch his videos. He needs to do more shorts for sure. But yeah, it's to get all the subscribers you need. I would never do a live feed on a Wednesday just because of him. So yeah, I'm not sure if we're gonna keep up the Tuesday ones or not, but because I thought we'd get a lot bigger audience doing the portrait style on the short feed, live feed. But there was no difference. I didn't see any higher attendance than what we have now. So, and I'm sure I'm gonna get busier and I'm gonna be working later. So, like we take off a little bit early on tonight because we close at 8, so I start this at 7. Well, thanks, Michelle. But I try, and I'm able to learn things. So that's going to be one of the topics some night. You got to have the ability to learn new things and not be so stubborn. Like some of the people out here are very stubborn, and they're like, well, that they know it's a certain way, but really it could be a different way. So the ability to learn, the ability to adapt, you got to have all that. If it draws views but not interaction from what I see, you can be 1 in 100 draw and subs perhaps. Yeah, I get so jealous when I hear somebody like they only did one short and they got monetized by just doing one short video. That wasn't how it was for me. I got hundreds of videos. And I did get all my copyrights solved and I won every one of them. So now all of my old videos, when people watch them, they're monetized now and no copyright violation. So that was cool. I finally got all them satisfied. It took a while. There's a procedure you got to go through if you get a copyright violation. And it takes I don't know, 30 days. And then if nobody responds to that copyright violation, you win. But yeah, so yeah, I hope to get better at what I do, and I learn things about cars every day. So, and that's most important to me because that's how I make my living. So, being able to fix people's cars and the cars a lot of my customers have now they're newer than the cars I've ever worked on before. So, I'm still regretting the day when one of those Duramax diesel 1500s have to come to my shop for the timing belt. I don't want to do one of those. You either got to jack the cab or pull the cab, or I think that's what you got to do. Why would you put a rubber timing belt in oil? I don't know. Yeah, thanks, Rob. That's great. I'd like. I'm a very modest person, so when people say good things about me, I like it. So, what did you do at the dealerships, Rob? Yeah, leisure. That's probably why they did it. So JD says I was big into training up until around COVID. Then I fell off and haven't got back into it. Yeah, so our GM training guy died. He passed away, and it was very sad because I liked the guy. So we're just finally getting some more GM training, and we got a class to go to on the 5th. Yeah, Jerry. His name was Jerry something. It's up there on one of my certificates somewhere. But yeah, he knew a lot about GMs, and he could fix any of them. In his day, he was the guy that GM called when the dealers couldn't fix their car, and he didn't have to do any of the work, but he was there telling the technician what to do, how to fix it. Eventually, a manager for the group I worked for. That's cool. Because I know you do talk a lot about tools too. I don't think we even have a trainer around here. Well, that's too bad. I like going to those classes and keeping up to date for the GM. I think I missed a couple Ford ones once where I could have got some updates from Ford. But yeah, we got a update class coming on the 5th. So we get to take off early and go up to the college and they'll have I already paid for it for me and Michelle, and then they'll have a meal for us and they have pop, and we get to take a break during the middle because I think they're like 3 hour courses. Sometimes it depends how many questions there are. They could go longer. But yeah, you get to talk to the other technicians that have shops in your areas. You get to talk to the GM guys. I've gone to a few for Standard Motor Products too. JD says, I worked at a GM dealer for my first 12 to 14 years. It took ASAP training. Yeah, so like I'm ASE certified for air conditioning, but that's about it. The rest of my certifications are just courses I've taken on these training seminars. But my dad was a teacher and he taught me a lot of stuff. I've worked with some pretty good, smart people that I learned from. So I was able to learn from all these smart people that I've worked with over the years. No, no, because I generally don't have any trouble. And Votech, yeah, no, I know what you're talking about, Rob. But I'm busy enough, and with these GM classes, that keeps me up to date. Plus, I'm still in contact with some of the people that I used to work for. I don't see no reason to do that, especially when I'm already 53 years old. I don't got much time left to go. And like I might be switching it up like in a year or so if I move to Florida. So I've already had the city attorney tell me that they don't want me to move, and she was in and got her car fixed the other day, and she said, well, they need me here, and she doesn't want me. The whole town doesn't want me to move. Yeah, I wouldn't have time to do that. Like I'm focused in my shop. Yeah, so I was thinking about that the other day. Like I could maybe get some kind of a tax break if I teach kids how to fix cars. Which at the last job I worked at, they were fresh out of school, and the boss was so mad when I quit because he's like, "You're helping these kids learn the ropes and how to fix cars." But at this time, I was just I just had to get back into the realm of things from Dad passing away, so I needed to be around people. And that guy helped me, and he's a friend of mine still. I'm indebted to him because he helped me get through a hard time in life. But yeah, I was thinking maybe we could have some people come here and I could teach them. I mean, I know a lot about cars and how to fix them correctly. And I do know, like, maybe if you do struggle, just keep on going, but make sure you test it. Like I'll go on a test drive until it's passed, and I'm sure the code's not coming back. So certainty in your repair that you do the right thing for the customer, that's very important. In Canada, we have a car test. We have to write a letter to be licensed over a certain grade, and we could get a red seal so we can work across to Canada. Yeah, that's cool. We can also do AS. Yeah, so some shops won't hire you if you don't have the right certifications. Dealers around here probably won't. But I did get a chance to work at a dealer, and he knew I didn't have no certifications, or maybe only ASC for the air conditioning at the time. But he knew who I was and my experience level, so they were hiring me regardless. But I didn't go there because the hoists were all too congested, and it looked like a rat race to me. Plus, I would have been on flat rate, I'm sure. I can't tell you how many cars I drive home with the scanners hooked up. Was 40 miles from our dealerships. Yeah. Yep, I'll keep cars extra long just to make sure they pass the drive cycles and everything. Yeah, but it's got to be something like because the kids that I know that help me out aren't worth their paycheck. It's got to be somebody that's willing to learn. Put it that way. Yeah, okay, so Leisure just said the same thing I did. Like the kids, they don't want to learn anymore. They got a phone, they got all their social media, they got their games, they got, and Michelle can attest to this. They got their cars, and it, as long as they get $100 in their pocket a week to do what they want to do, that's all they want to do. Yeah, it's awful. It's awful. I wasn't like that when I was a kid. Of course, I didn't have a cell phone when I was a kid. Yeah, it's terrible. I don't know what the world's going to come to and what it's going to be like in 20 years. But I don't see anything good in my industry. So, yeah, if we start making more shifts to electric vehicles, I mean, the only thing I can do is suspension and brakes. Of course, I'll get a tire machine or something. But my customers in this area, I would say 99% of them don't want nothing to do with these electric cars and this newer stuff. Yeah, we found out ways to entertain ourselves, that's for sure. But we 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 were hard workers and we paid attention and we learned. I know that for sure. Rob says his wife was a teacher. She said kids tell her why do we need to know this AI? Is it going this AI is going to do it for me? Oh, yeah. So the first time I heard about the AI, I'm like, I wonder if this can code for me. But yeah, I think it can, but you got to pay for that service. Because I got on some of the apps I make on Android Studio with the Java is hundreds and hundreds of lines of code. Yeah, I could. It's just that I probably could, but I prefer not to get into the like the battery, the hybrids, battery section of it. I did do a Dodge Ram the other day with the big I can't remember what they call this thing, but it's got the alternator that turns into a motor, and those things are ultra expensive, like $2,500. But they have the same thing on a Jeep, and I found one off a Jeep. It doesn't say Dodge on it, but it says Jeep or Ram or whatever. And we got it for the guy, and I said, "This is the same thing," and he's like, "Well, if it's not, I'm not paying for it." And I'm like, "Well, you won't have to." But I ended up just switching the cover over, so he didn't even know. But I got it for $300, so I saved him a lot of money, and it worked. We did try to take it to the electric shop and have them put bearings in it, but they couldn't do it. When Rob says when electric hybrids first came out, the OSHA stuff is crazy. Set up cones around the car. We gotta have So I've been to some of them training things, and you gotta have certain meters, gloves. I mean, maybe they scared me when I went to some of those, dealt with some of that. I just had never had any hybrid stuff so far. I mean, I probably if one came in, I would try to fix it, but I haven't had any come in that need anything yet. And Tesla's their shops are backed by Tesla, and I don't think you pay for anything when your Tesla breaks down. Yeah. I wonder if I still have it. Let me look in my toolbox because I got an interesting tool that I made. It's in this toolbox. So here's the pliers I made. and that's red fiberglass. But I made this so I could change my house had a old style screw-in fuses, and I made this so I could change it without calling the power company to have them unhook my service. I never did it because we built a new garage, and then getting a new fuse panel was part of it. But yeah, so maybe I could use this on some Teslas or something. But it's strong, and I made it on a milling machine. Yeah, so another thing is too, on the electric cars, the newer ones, if you don't disable the braking or put it in a brake service mode or something, I can't remember what you got to do, but the calipers, if you take off the caliper and you turn the wheel bearing, the GM guy was telling me this, that Jerry, a tech was taking off the brake caliper, changing the brake pads, but he bumped the wheel bearing and it moved. Well, it triggered the traction control on the car, and then it cut his fingers off. Yeah, no, fiberglass doesn't conduct electricity. So I really was going to put a breaker panel in my house without calling the power company. But it was only 240 volts. So they work on the high voltage lines. They don't shut those off when the guys work on them, but they got special suits and stuff. Yeah, I could have used this. But I made it extra thick here, but just so it wouldn't break. But I did use a metal bolt for the pivot, and then I notched it so that nut can't come loose, or pinned it. So I made this at the one shop I worked at where I built the starting units. They had a whole machine shop in there. And on my breaks or after work, and it was electrical shop too, so I got this fiberglass from them. But I'd go back there and, fiberglass dulls mill bits really bad. But they had a mill bit sharpener too, so I built a lot of stuff. I really want a lathe and a milling machine here. High tension wires. Oh man, yeah. I know they have to work on those live, but they get paid a lot of money too, because yeah, that's your life. Yeah, that's not for me. I do build, like, I do work around like Tesla coils that I make myself, and you don't get electrocuted from that, but I like playing around with that. Tesla is one of my idols too, so like he's the reason that we're where we're at today. But I built a couple Tesla coils. I fried a whole bunch of meters trying to figure out why my Tesla coil wasn't working at the time, or I was just dumb enough to try to measure the secondary winding. I remember one of my meters started turning yellow once. All right, so JD says, and if you push the caliper back without putting it in brake service mode, it sets all kinds of lights and codes. Even on the front brakes, you'll gotta. I didn't know you had to put it in service mode for the front ones. But yeah, I always put them in service mode. A lot of guys that say you take the motor off the back and stuff, I don't agree with that. But you put it in service mode, and then generally you can push that piston back in without screwing it like you do on the older ones. I think maybe you have to turn it a little bit, but it goes back in pretty easily. So Leisure said he just uses 12 volts and probably unplugs it and then unwinds it. But I know, like, on the, I can't remember which car it was, but it had brake pad. Yeah, it was a 2019 Silverado I did. It had brake pad life and everything. I had to reset in there when I put the new pads in. and I put it in service mode because it had electric calipers. I did not know that, JD, that you had to do that for the front. It's probably a good idea. No, no, I don't even really know how to say that word. Leisure says, I got a neighbor like Erico. I call him Lawn Boy. I know Eric's always talking about his lawnmower guy. And then the damn lawnmower's always in the summer going when he's doing a video. So I noticed that here too, like the traffic on my road is getting heavy. And I can't have the doors open and do a video. It's terrible. And then they got Jake brake. We need a Jake brake law in this town. Yeah, it's awful, and they're so loud. They don't enforce muffler laws around here anymore, I don't think, because everybody's car is just crazy loud. Oh, he's a crazy electrical engineer that does some wild stuff with electrics and batteries. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff I like to do. I just don't want to get hurt doing it. But someday I'll have to get that Tesla coil I made and get that out. And then I bought a little one too. I like to play around with that one. And then you can play music on it, like AC/DC and stuff like that. And it sounds weird because it's going through the electricity. It's not really a speaker at all. Well, it's not a speaker, but you can hear it snapping the electricity. Yeah, that's what we should do, Michelle, is get that musical Tesla coil out. Yeah, I think I used to have a buddy that worked for Midas. Rob said he's got like 150 car batteries wired together. Yeah, I did put a 10 car batteries in series once. What was I doing? Oh, I was making my own electric vehicle, but I was developing the motor controller to drive a 3-phase AC motor. But yeah, once you get up to like 72 volts, you could start to get burned. Yeah, we used to make jump packs for locomotives, and they were 72 volt output, which when they had 3 21 SI alternators inside. When them alternators were up to full charge, they were 24 volts apiece. I think the output voltage of that thing was around 85 volts. So yeah, you could get burned pretty bad, but you could do some good welding with that thing. I remember taking a stick of 7018 on the output clamps and just pushing her right down as fast as I could go. So too much voltage for welding. But I wanted to find out if it could weld, because if it was at the yards, railroad yards, I'm sure they could have used some welding. I don't know. We sold hundreds of them, and they ran on propane, and I converted all the carburetors to run over to propane because they would use them in their locomotive shops inside. So my boss didn't want anybody to die, so we converted them all. We made them all propane. Yeah, stick welders. Yeah, that's when I started. It's really easy. Yeah, we got 4 cell phone tower batteries in the motorhome right now, but they're all wired in parallel, so I'm only running 12 volts, but they're 147 pounds a piece, and they're glass mat AGM. But most of my solar stuff I like to run when I build my own setups is 24 volts. It's just more power. So the charge controller I got to charge these 12 volt batteries, I got the input voltage on them is like 80 volts that goes into my charge controller, and then it charges the 12 volt batteries. Yep, I started with stick welding too, because my dad had an old Forney welder from Grandpa, and that got passed down to Dad, so that's what I used to weld. And that was my welder, so I could weld anything and cut anything with that welder. So you would just hold the stick away and get it really hot to cut metal in half. Because I don't think I even had, maybe I had a hacksaw, but you couldn't cut a big piece of plate steel with a hacksaw very easily. So I learned how to use a regular stick, a welding rod, and cut metal. So I built all kinds of stuff back in my younger days. Yeah, you should, Rob. There's some benefits in it. So the guy I bought this building from says I need to talk to him and see if I can get one of the grid tie setups to go on my roof. And then he said he's got one at his house and he's making money right now. And it's only been up there a couple of years. Yep, so I don't have any arc welders anymore. My brother's got those, the old 40. And I think there's a capacitor in them old 40s that go bad. But I got a MIG welder, and that MIG welder's kind of a piece of junk. And then I got a Eastwood TIG welder, which I use a little bit. So that's my two welders. I guess I got a little, I need to get some oxygen tanks, because I got a couple tanks of acetylene, because I'm really good at torch welding, brazing, oxygen acetylene welding. I'm really good at it, especially like not using filler rod to weld steel together. Yeah, there's 10 tire. It's got a tag axle. Yeah, we gotta get them batteries out. That's too much weight. That's 600 pounds of batteries. I gotta lighten that thing up a little bit, because I bring a lot of stuff. I bring tools. We got a spare tire. I bring my jacks. I bring my scanners. I bring everything. I bring the credit card machine in case somebody breaks down on the road and I feel like I gotta charge them. Well, you know, if you're camping and somebody wants me to, and they're broke down or something, and somebody wants me to, I'll help them out to a point. But if I got to go to Napa and buy some parts, they're going to have to pay me. I'm not Parker's Mobile yet. Someday I want to do that, though. But it is 10 o'clock, so I'm pretty sure I need something just to snack on before I go to bed. And Michelle's probably waiting for me. This is kind of her time. I'm infringing on her time. Yeah, it's been a while for me too, but I love to oxygen acetylene weld. But yeah, I'm gonna call her quits, and I'm gonna thank each and every one of you for coming. And we'll probably do it again on Tuesday, but for sure on Thursdays. These are going to be the main ones. So Tuesday I'll only do if I have time or not. I know in my clothes, I mean, we're loaded with a full. Yeah, she has a lot of clothes. Yep. Thank all you guys for coming, and I had a fun time. So that was really awesome. I kind of like doing these live feeds. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed it too. And I got to know JD a little bit better. So he's from Canada and he's doing this stuff too. So that's great. We need everybody like you guys to get all this input on cars. That's great. And Rob, yeah, that's awesome. So, all right, you guys have a good night. I'm cutting her off. Thanks for coming.